Jaguar Type S. In order to get to the bottom of the engine to change the oil, you have to take this large belly pan off. And in order to do that, we have numerous screws and bolts to take off. In the front, we have a bolt there. It's missing a bolt there and a bolt there. Then we have a screw. Then down here we have 3 screws, bolt, 3 screws. And then here and here. And I'm also seeing where this oil leak's coming from. But in order to get to anything, you have to remove this belly pan, which covers the entire bottom of the engine. So it is what it is, I guess, but I've never seen anything like this, that you've got, it's going to take longer to take this off than it would to change the oil, I believe. So we're going to get at it. I'm not a big fan of ramps, but I couldn't find a central point to jack it up with the floor jack, so we've used these ramps. You are going to have to put, it will bottom out on the ramp up if you don't put about a 1/2 inch piece of wood to get it up on the ramp. And because I'm in the sun, I am worried about it heating it up, and so put some floor jacks under it before you get in there, okay? But to get the belly pan off, you have 5 bolts that are 10 millimeter and a number 2 Phillips, and the whole belly pan will come off. Here's what it looks like. I'm fixing to degrease this really good. It's pretty hard to find an oil leak when you got this going on. To capture the leak, it's pretty hard to trace it, but that's what your belly pan looks like on the bottom. You got 1 bolt there, 1 bolt there, 1 bolt there, 1 bolt there, 1 bolt. This attaches to the front fascia, and a screw there and a screw there, and it all comes off. I have found that it was missed. There's supposed to be a couple other screws, I think 1 right there and maybe possibly there, but I guess where oil was changed previously, they decided that they did not need those bolts and they left them off. It's one reason to always do it yourself, to make sure it's done right. You will need a 13 millimeter socket to take the oil drain plug loose. Now this is why I do it myself and do not take my vehicles to dealerships to have the oil changed. The oil plug was in there so tight that I had to use a breaker bar to get it loose, which means they must have put it on with an impact. I should have been able to use this small ratchet to get it loose, because on my other cars an oil plug is torqued at like 15 foot-pounds. It's not much. But I literally had to use this breaker bar to break it loose, which tells me that it was torqued to at least 100 foot-pounds. That's what I used to take lug nuts loose, and that's ridiculous. My daughter's Durango, not long ago, I had to use an impact on it to get the oil plug loose, because she was always taking it to either Walmart or Jiffy Lube, and they put the oil plugs in with an impact wrench for speed. Well, if it's on there as tight as a lug nut, which is 100 foot-pounds, you're just asking for trouble. The next thing is, I just got it finger tight, but this housing, here's where your old drain plug's at. This housing, the oil pan is all aluminum, and when you torque it to 100 foot-pounds, that's just absurd. Okay? But anyways, here it is. We're fixing to drain the oil, do an oil change. So here's where your drain plug's at, right below the alternator here. And here's where your belly pan's attaching to the back. Those 2 nuts go there. to help align it. The 2 other screws go there, the 3 nuts go here, and everything for the belly pans here, the nuts, the screws, the bolts, the screws, the nuts, and 2 bolts in the back of the wings of it. One thing to remember is this 3.0 takes 7 quarts of Castrol 5W30, so you better have 2 pans ready, because that pan will only hold like 4.5 quarts, or you're going to make a mess. And all of a sudden the wind picked up on me and blew it all over my nice concrete. So, but anyways, the oil filter on this Jaguar is located at the very back, almost next to the transmission on the driver's side. It is right there.